church leagues were actually the loudest.
Loudest, but no night. And the police would go, and we got the police report because they let us have. The police would go down there and say, people cheering, having a good time, no drinking, no swearing.
I never did. I promised Tony I would go.
We all set?
She said go ahead. I never did.
All right, simmer down. We'll call this
Okay.
meeting of the Village of Holly
Ready.
Parks Commission to order at 7 p.m. on April 4th, 2018. Would you do a roll call, please, Carol?
McCanny. Peltonen.
Here.
Lease.
Here.
Powers.
Here.
Hutchins.
Here.
Rankin.
Here.
Lennon.
Here.
All right. I did hear, well, I do know that Sarah McCanny is out of state, so I would entertain a motion to excuse her from tonight's meeting.
So moved. Second it.
We have a motion and support. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Does anybody have any changes to the agenda that they would like to put forth? Otherwise, we can take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second it.
We have a motion and support to approve the agenda for this evening. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion also carries. You also have before you the minutes from March's meeting. Does anybody have any questions or comments related to the previous month's minutes?
Yes, one thing, was it approved by the village for putting chaos volleyball in?
It was not. It was not. It wasn't on the agenda for the council. I wasn't. I'm not real sure why it wasn't, because I thought we had made a motion to send that up to council, but that actually kind of works in our favor because I spoke to Mark, and apparently he is not of the mind of putting the courts where we thought we were going to put them, but that's why it's on the agenda.
Okay.
What's Mark's last name?
Meltzer.
Meltzer. Mark Meltzer.
He's
He's from
what?
Chaos.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
the guy
okay.
who runs Chaos Volleyball.
Okay.
So, so that's why that's back on the agenda tonight, under old business, because we're going to have to revisit that and make sure that we're all on board with where he actually wants to put the courts and not where we thought he wanted to put them.
Yeah, well, he should know.
Yeah. So, are there any other
that's
questions or
Good luck
comments
with all
about the?
landscaping by Memorial Day. You might have to shovel snow.
Yeah.
You know what?
Does anybody else have any questions, comments, or changes that they wanted to note for the minutes of the last meeting? Motion to accept the approval of the minutes from the March 7th, 2018 meeting. Do I have support?
Support.
We have motion and support to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I don't think we'll have any public comments since
No.
our peanut gallery is now behind the bench.
I can always jump up.
No, you can talk during board member comments. Okay, so back to Chaos Sand Volleyball Courts. So I ran into Mark at the Moose, luckily.
Oh, good
Yeah.
old Moose.
Yeah, big surprise. Ran into Mark at the Moose. So we had talked previously about putting the sand volleyball courts back where the tennis courts were
Yeah.
previously. And Mark said he had gone to the, he was aware that that was where we wanted them. He had gone to the park and made the determination that it was going to be too expensive for him to cart out the tennis courts and then cart in the sand that it would have added considerable expense. So his plan is to have them at what would be the southwest corner of the park, which is over near where the flagpole was installed.
Okay, for those of us that are challenged, is that left or right?
Well, if
By the flagpole?
if you're standing on Baird and you're looking at the park and the ball field's on your right, he wants to put them on the left, and he's going to pull out either one or
soccer
both
thing?
of the soccer posts,
They don't use them anyway.
which nobody's used. It's an eyesore. They're just rusty. They're basically rusty. Excuse me, rusty old poles at this point. I don't think anybody's going to miss them. So the plan is to install. his hope is for 4 courts. He's realistically, he thinks they're going to get 3. So his plan is to, since that area has a slope to it, he's going to cut into the hill. He didn't mention a specific number of feet from the fence.
The hill this way?
The hill,
towards straight?
the hill
Baird.
to the west.
Okay.
There's a slope to the west. Yeah, he's not coming up towards Baird because the flagpole's there in the way
Right.
anyhow. So he's going to stay. I mean, he's not going to go too far up the hill because he doesn't want to excavate much. But he's basically going to cut the hill, drag it over to level out the ground, and then put the sand on top of that and have an earthen berm around the court or the courts in that southwest corner. So
Is
if,
that gonna screw up what you wanted to do?
Oh, no, actually, when I talked to him, I was a little surprised he wanted to put them at the tennis courts, because when I talked to him, that's what he really wanted was the old volleyball field.
Well, he's got it.
Not volleyball, soccer field.
Cycle, yeah.
right,
And that's the one he paced off. That's the one he found was the driest of the park.
right.
Yes.
That is the
Definitely.
highest elevation, and cutting into the hill and dragging that you know the dirt from the hill back over will
Have at
raise
it.
it up even further.
Yeah, I wouldn't ever oppose the tennis court, but I think this is ideal location. It's a good location.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fine location for the courts. I don't think there's only one house. There's the one house between the whatever that building is on the corner
Right.
with the big parking lot.
It used to belong to St.
I don't-
Rita's. didn't
yeah, I
it?
Oh,
don't
yeah,
think- I don't-
it's St. Rita's, yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is it part of their church? No.
Uh-huh.
And then there's
Yeah.
the one house, and then the park.
It was an
And
elementary school. for
that
years.
one house is the only thing that would even remotely be affected by
Right.
the use of the volleyball courts.
Okay.
No, I
So-
think it'd be great. I'm looking
Hearing
forward to it.
no objection, I'd make the motion that we pass along to council our recommendation to allow Chaos Volleyball to build their 3 to 4 sand volleyball courts in the southwest corner
Definitely.
area of Cyclone Park.
I'll
I will
second it.
definitely second that.
I'll
All
second
right,
it.
you can do a roll call on that one, Carol.
Weiss,
Yes.
Peltonen,
Yes.
McCanny, Hutchins,
Yes.
Rankin,
Yes,
Lemon,
Yes.
Powers.
Yes.
Unanimous.
motion carries. So we'll hopefully be able to get that onto the next council agenda.
What's the timeline? Did he give you any timeline at all? First of all, let's go to the village. I know that.
Yeah,
And
well, the village meeting is next week, so.
okay, did he give a timeline? When he would like to get these in?
I think it was
Didn't it say?
ASAP.
Yeah, and that's what it was. And I was trying to remember if he had told me a specific date, but he didn't. But he said he wanted to get started on it as soon as possible, so that they could be using it for the summer league.
Yeah.
I thought I read May 1st.
I thought I did too. I'm looking for it now.
in this.
I don't think he's going to get it built by May 1st. If he gets it in by Memorial Day, I'd be surprised.
And the
Hold on,
next
Jack.
question is, are we, as part of the parks, going to have a schedule of what's coming to Cyclone Park by way of the Chaos Volleyball? As he talked to me, he applied for 3 AAU tournaments down there. It would be nice if we knew when these tournaments are going to take place, if he does win approval on them.
That can I'm sure that can be arranged.
Yeah.
I'll contact him actually and find out what kind of a schedule, because that would probably be something that council's going to want to know. How often is that park going to be utilized for volleyball tournaments?
Right. Okay.
Well,
And the
until
other
fall,
question I
we
would
can do it
have
in the winter.
for him is it going to be fenced off with one of those portable fences when it's not being used?
From the sound of it, he just wants to, his plan was, he kind of made it sound like he's just going to leave it up. As long as there's no problems,
Yeah, why not?
he won't, he won't
Okay,
take down the
good.
nets. He'll leave them up all summer long,
Mhm.
take them down in the winter. He says if we run into problems where there's some vandalism or somebody, steals a net or starts
Right.
doing something, he says then we'll take the nets down after each tournament.
Okay.
It does have a date. By the middle of June, the courts will be in the ground.
Okay.
Is there still a porta potty down
Yes.
by the station where we need more if there's gonna be?
Well, one of my
That many
plans is,
people.
since I can't get out there and speak, I'll have to speak from here. We are looking at refurbishing the old cop shop and putting in restrooms and a concession stand
Yeah,
up there.
and that's been something that the village has wanted to do for a couple of years, and maybe now this will light a fire under the DPW to, to get that project rolling.
And there is plumbing in there for the bathrooms.
Oh,
I went
yeah.
over there with Jerry Walker.
Yeah,
And
because there used to be bathrooms in there. There used to be
there were,
offices.
and the plumbing's all still there. I recommended that they put a concession stand because one of the things Chaos Volleyball doesn't have that people complain about are no concession stands.
Well,
And,
as long as we
but-
get somebody to run it.
Let's find a food truck.
Yeah.
well, what I was thinking is allowing like the Boy Scouts, different nonprofits to come in and run the concession stands for
Right.
popcorn, whatever the case might be.
Right, but
and
we'd have
have
to-
that be a fundraiser for them.
And that'd be great, but we'd have to have the concession stand first. So, I mean,
Right? No question.
I
Yeah.
like the idea of the food truck myself. HVA used to sleep there in that building.
Oh,
It was-
really?
It was set up like a bedroom and a
Oh, yeah.
bathroom and a little kitchen.
That, first of all, that wasn't the police station, that was the
It's HVA.
ambulance shed.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
that's
it was
right.
just the
Ambulance,
ambulance
right.
building.
The police station
And I
was
didn't know
long
until
gone.
recently that there used to be a second building.
Yeah, it was the log cabin.
Log cabin. That was the
Yeah.
police station.
Mine
No,
was
no,
a tot there.
it was.
At
It
the-
didn't look
at-
log. Didn't look
no,
log
not
cabin
in
from
there.
the aerial
Yeah.
photos,
Well, it
but
was
Building, no.
up front. My
That was
mother
ambulance,
taught there for years.
HVA.
yeah.
And
Police
then it was the
station
police
was no
station. They
log
used it for a lot of
cabin.
stuff,
They used
but
to sit in
finally.
front of it.
Any other comments on the
Sure, you
location
brought up
of-
a food
Well,
this sand?
food truck.
Just happened.
here's HVA.
Well, this has to do
Here's
with
the old police station.
holidays.
Okay.
Do you remember the woman that came? I
Yeah.
told you she came up, maybe,
Oh, yeah.
since she's local?
Okay.
Write it down.
Sounds good.
I don't know.
Do you want to contact her? Or do you
Oh, yeah.
I can?
contact
Whoever?
her and find
Okay.
out if she would be interested in what
Something
sounds like
for
it's
the
going to be a
summer?
regular gig?
Okay.
Probably 3 to 5 hours at a stretch.
And these were always on the weekends, right?
I don't think so. I think
No?
during
I
the
think
summer
they're
they're.
during
I
the
think
week.
it's during the
Oh,
week.
okay.
So
Well,
it's,
see, she can contact
Pull
them
the truck
or.
in.
and then
or
tell her,
that.
just find out if she's interested,
Right,
and then we can
right.
get her. And when after I talk to Mark, we can get a
'Cause
schedule.
she's local,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that'd be
I'd like
wonderful.
to have local people.
All right, new business, item number 1. Actually, the June 9th, that's on number 2, at the beginning of number 2, should be at the end of number 1 there. Consideration of the Blue Cat Band for Music at the Park, June 9th. So, so I contacted the Blue Cat Band. I have a tentative contract signed with them, but I wanted to make sure that everybody, I thought it would probably be prudent to have it approved by the board before I just went and
What
willy-nilly
kind of
grabbed.
music is it? Blues?
Blues.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's blues music. I've heard a bunch of it. I was trying to find it on my phone, but I can't get their website to work. So I was going to give everybody a little taste of it, but it is sort of. I don't want to try and pigeonhole them into anything, but it's basically blues music, and they are very good. They've been playing for about 20 years or so, so they've got their things together.
Good.
So what do you want? A motion to approve that?
Well, yeah, so they're planning on playing now. I changed it up a little bit this year. We're gonna shoot for a little earlier for the music. I set it up for 5 to 7 instead of 6 to 8. Put a little earlier in the evening. Maybe bring some people down. We'll play around with the time this year and see what happens. So the cost for the Blue Cat Band is $800. That's pretty normal.
Do we have that in our budget?
Yes, we do have that, and we specifically have it for music.
Well, in that case, I move that we
So,
arrange to have them.
yes, I would entertain a motion to
what
approve
date
having
is
the
for
Blue Cat
this?
Band on June
Oh
9th.
yeah. What date?
What's that?
What date for this one?
June 9th. It's a
Oh,
Saturday.
that's right, June 9th.
Saturday, June 9th. Yeah, that's the June 9th we moved up from
So
month
it's $800 for one night?
for one show, 2 hours long.
I'll make the motion.
I already did.
Oh,
5 to 7, correct?
I'll
Yep,
second it then.
5 to 7.
I'll second it.
5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Blue Cat Band, Crapple Park Pavilion, June 9th.
Okay, got it.
They've got it on their calendar already. They've got like a what looks like a poster of upcoming events, and we're already on there. They actually created a banner that's with the Holly logo, and it says Crapo Park Summer Concerts Series, which I lifted from their website and I'm going to use as on our the Facebook page.
Well, if they have a
Cool.
following, quite often people follow them, so there will be,
Right.
you know.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what we're hoping for, is to
Yeah.
just to bring people into the park
Bring new
and bring people
people.
downtown.
How
Hear some good
many
music.
engagements do we have?
So far, we have the one. We're
Would you
planning
like a
3.
second? Possible?
So the,
I came prepared. Actually, this is from somebody else. Ina Golden gave
so
me
the
that.
plan is for 3. There'll be one in June, July, and August.
Ina
Did they
Goldman
build out? Are
has
they-
already talked with them, and they would possibly be
Are
interested.
they part of the Sweet Adeline?
You know, I don't know,
I
but
think
she
so.
knew what I was talking about when I mentioned the
I
Sweet
think
Adelines.
they sing.
They are in Fenton. So
They sing a cappella.
anyway,
Okay.
she told
Well,
me
we
to
have
give that to
a
them.
motion
so.
and support. Let's do a roll call, just for giggles, since it's money.
Okay, Powers,
Here?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, here. I'm here.
Lease,
Here, yes. That's what you started.
Lemon,
Yes.
Altonen,
Yes.
Hutchins,
Yes.
Lincoln.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion
they're in.
carries.
They're in.
Okay.
Can I add a sidebar to this?
Absolutely.
I know in some cities that do these concerts in the park, they're usually, not usually, but sometimes sponsored by local banks, local businesses. Have we ever looked into State Bank sponsoring something like this? I know Citizens Bank
I
used to
can
sponsor
contact
the
them.
one
That would be a wonderful idea.
in Clio, Ample Park. Those were always sponsored by the old Citizens Bank. And a couple other places I was at. I mean, they have one sponsor and they got all the advertising, they got everything from it. And, well, I've never been to Clio. That was a really pretty big venue there quite often.
Okay.
And it would be nice if somebody else foot the bill for it other than Parks.
Yeah.
That would be a wonderful idea.
And if we had State Bank or Metro Credit Union or something like that.
Huntington.
Or anybody in the,
Anybody in the community.
I will check into that and bring
Yeah,
you back an
security.
answer at the next meeting.
Okay, great.
Security Federal, up in
Yeah, or
Grand Blanc too.
Well, I was going to say McKay's, but I guess McKay's wouldn't be.
No, another
No.
another ace.
But maybe, Curtin would want to,
Maybe.
kick in $100, or, we
Oh,
could maybe
yeah,
have a bunch of
would it be
people.
even better if they said, hey, we'll foot the bill
Yeah,
for
that'd
the
be
thing if
easier,
you...
wouldn't it? Just give us the 800.
You know what we could do is we could sell the naming rights, and we could call it the Curtin Lumber Concert Series.
Absolutely. Oh, no, that's what they used to do up in
That would be-
Clio, and they were able to get some pretty big stars up there
Yeah.
because they had the bank back him up, and they had a fairly sizable budget for it.
That would be
For
that'd be awesome.
holidays, Cricket was real interested. Isn't that the name of the?
Yeah, the wireless
They
place.
were real interested in trying to get involved in
Well,
the village somehow.
Now that Domino's is here too, they like getting local things. Domino's,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
they're big time sponsors.
Okay. Yeah. Item number 2, Riverfest at Waterworks Park. I know we had touched on this previously. In your packet, you see there
I saw
is
that. It's good, nice.
a little map and just some quick facts that I sent to the keepers of the Shiawassee, that we're going to go. I'll be at their next meeting, which I think is next week, actually.
Where did they hold their meetings?
They hold it at the Red Fox in Fenton, is where their meeting is
Red
at.
Fox Outfitters.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
So yeah, it's at 8 o'clock on April 12th, so next Thursday. So, and then we'll discuss the possibility of bringing. They sounded I mean, they're definitely interested. They just wanted some background. What kind of parking? How far is it from downtown? How easy is it to get? For more parking if we need it. How far away is it?
This was what,
How
June
much?
9th?
How much space is at the park? That sort of thing.
Hopefully every building will be done.
So I created this little map for them, and kind of told them, showed them where we could, the parking area the little parking lot that is actually the dirt lot at Waterworks is not enough to, you know, it won't handle cars, but we can park cars on that whole north end of the park, and I'm guessing we can get 100 to 125 cars in there, which should accommodate most of the
Possibly arrange for a
visitors.
shuttle too, you know?
Well, and that's the other thing is that and then there's parking, you know, 100 yard or 1,000 feet away in the downtown area. So it's a 5-minute walk. It's not a big deal. And then on the south end of the park is where they'll have their vendors and their events and their activities and those sorts of things going on. And then I'm also going to recommend that along the very far east border of the park is where they have their vendors park their vehicles so that the vendors aren't taking up space in the parking lot. They say that they usually bring in 30 to 50 vendors for their Riverfest. I haven't been to one yet, but I plan on going this year. It's in Linden.
So this is for next summer.
Do you have that Linden? Do they have that Linden one? I'm gonna plan on going to that too.
Yep.
So that'll be June 9th of 2019.
Yeah, Riverfest is June 24th. It's a Sunday, and it's in downtown Linden. You literally cannot miss it.
So it's a one-day venue then?
Yep. Yes, it is.
A little note for optional parking,
Yeah.
Hadley Street. Parking one side of the street, up and down Hadley,
Oh, yeah.
across Broad.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have street parking available.
Yeah,
they'll
because-
be able to park actually, and there's a few spaces along Broad Street next to the wooden fence there that a few people could park. Maybe put some vendors there.
Because when the Pro Boat canoe racers used to run the canoe marathon out of there,
Yeah.
there was parking, I mean, all the side streets all the way to downtown past
Right.
the fire hall.
They were all full.
Yep.
Yeah, and Hadley Street is pretty. I mean, it's right there. So yeah, so that would be even better. That's another quarter mile of parallel parking. Um, so I will, at our next meeting, I'll bring back the, I'm assuming, I don't know, but I assume that they're going to decide at their next meeting where the Riverfest in 2019 is going to be located. I'm pretty sure that they'll decide to have it at Waterworks because I don't think there's any reason not to. There's plenty of space. There's plenty of parking. It's the headwaters.
Plenty of river.
Yeah, there's so, and maybe this will foster some urgency about the Waterworks building itself.
Do you have any times on, what is it, from 10 in the morning till 5, or is it 12 to 9 o'clock at night?
It's, I think the first event starts at 9 o'clock, but it's a fishing event. Or maybe it starts at, it might even start earlier than that. It might start at daybreak. I think they have there's a fishing contest, and their fishing contest is kind of odd. I'm not much of a fisherman, so bear with me, but apparently the fishing contest, you can fish anywhere within like 50 miles of Linden.
Oh.
And you just have to, you've got to, put your fish on a measuring stick and take a photo of it because it's catch and release. So then whoever has the largest fish.
Is this no license? 'Cause sometimes.
No, it is not no license.
Oh, they
You
have
do
to
have to
have
have
a
a fishing license. Yep. Yeah. Then I think they have one-day licenses available
Yeah.
at the festival. But I think the rest of the events start around 10 o'clock.
One other question. Do you have to get event insurance for this sort of thing?
No. Riverfest has its own insurance, and the village already has, and I mean, the village already has insurance in general, but Riverfest carries its own insurance, and when
Good.
they have the event, the village will be named as an insured,
Okay.
just like any other event that takes place downtown.
Okay.
Okay.
So, that
Chris?
is,
I'd like to be done by
oh, yeah,
7:30.
One little comment on for the Riverfest.
yeah.
Is the village fire department willing to do one of their great old pancake breakfasts for that morning? Since it's going to start so early?
Could ask 'em.
That was always a moneymaker for them guys too. Because there hasn't been a pancake breakfast in town in how many years?
And the fire hall's right there.
I know, the fire hall's right there. They used to
It
put
is.
on a really good breakfast, and it was well attended for years.
I will find out. I've been chatting. So I was trying to find some fire records, and so I reached out to Steve McGee to see if how I'd go about doing that. So when I talk to him next time, I'll ask him if that's a possibility.
Yeah.
And if they wouldn't do it, I think the Moose would do it. They're going to be doing a breakfast on May 6th, or Cinco de Mayo, May 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do want to get back into doing like a breakfast
Okay.
once a month or so.
Yeah, it'll be. I'm sure that it'll be at the end of June, but it won't be. I mean, it won't be until next year, anyways.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
nice.
So we've got plenty of time to plan.
Yeah, there's plenty of time to plan, but first choice would be the fire as a fundraiser. And then if they won't do it, I think the Moose might be able to do it.
Yeah, maybe the Moose could do it as a fundraiser for the fire department.
They would do that.
Good idea.
No, that's a good idea.
Get a
Help each
twofer.
other.
No, they do things like that. So yeah,
Yeah,
very
I-
definitely.
Are they
Um,
doing the pots this year?
I assume so. The women of the Moose,
They're doing what now?
The
the flower pots.
Boy, that's, it's been kind of, I only get bits and pieces of it, and I don't know.
They
I
did
know-
it for their anniversary, and then they continued to do it, but, whether they're.
That's one Jerry Walker goes before the Women of the Moose and asks for it every year.
They'd be growing them right now. They're growing in the greenhouse right now.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
I hope somebody can pay for them.
That's how, yeah, I don't know who's paying for
They
them.
spend a lot of money on those.
Yeah, they're expensive.
It's
But
several
they're-
thousand
They're
dollars.
very pretty, and they add a lot to the village.
No, so I can't answer it, but I will ask tonight.
Yeah, just find out.
Okay.
Halls. In Grand Blanc, Halls, I think the name of the place is. Jeannie Montooth would know. She knows all about that.
Any reports? Okay. Board member comments. Rick?
I continue work on Cyclone Park. Sarah brought it up about Parks and Recreation coming up with a small amount of money to help with the flowers that we want to put in there this summer.
Yeah.
We're hoping for contributions from different area businesses, but it would be nice if we could get $500 or $1,000 from Parks to start filling the park
we
with
had it.
flowers and really beautifying it. Because if Chaos Volleyball is going to be coming down there,
Yeah.
we want it to be looking great.
Yeah. I know that we have some funds in our budget from the 17-18 budget in the capital improvement fund.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a ton of money, but I know we didn't spend the whole 17 or 14,000 or whatever it was that we got last year.
1,400 anyway.
Well, it'd be nice because we have people coming forward. They're planning on doing a perennial exchange here probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks or month. And we're looking at the schools and looking at the moves and some other organizations to go in there, plant flowers, beautify it. I've talked to somebody about putting the trail in down there.
Right.
It's going to go around. One thing I wanted to check on is if we could take the trail actually up onto Beard Street and around the block and end up right back at Cyclone Park. So it's more of a trail. As it is now, it's about 3/4 of a mile. If we would extend it out, we could actually make it about 1.5 miles, 2 miles.
Back to the backstop?
No, you would go up to Beard Street, down, and then over, and then to Maple, and then Maple down
Oh,
to
like actually around the block.
around the
I
block.
don't know if people want that in their yard.
No, it wouldn't be in the yard, it's
It
a
would-
sidewalk.
It would just be
Well,
a,
same.
yeah, it would just be,
Well, it's just a thought. It makes the trail a little bit longer, but I'm perfectly content with having the trail right at Cyclone Park.
We can use the sidewalk. Okay.
So that's my comments.
Mr. Hutchins.
I ran across some information,
Uh-oh.
yeah, delving into my backlog of stuff, and I'll bring it copies of it. But I found a newspaper article dated April 1st, 1990, and it was they were talking about the council was discussing the boardwalk at Ganshaw Park.
Mm-hmm.
And the total cost of the project was supposed to be $235,339.95.
Well, it's about double what I expected, but yeah.
But 75% of the cost of it was going to be assumed by the state of Michigan.
Oh, yeah?
Then the Row Engineering suggested that they would do their engineering fee for free, which was nice. And the village looked at private donation to fund the village portion of the project. So that's what I found.
So what we need to find out is what vehicle was providing the 75%.
Well, it just said in there the state, so it had been DNR, state grants, or whatever else, probably
Right.
through the DNR. Because that's who we were talking to at the time, was the DNR.
Okay.
So that was 1990. That was 2 years before I came on board in 92. And we were still discussing it. So this was the preliminary
We were
parts,
discussing it before then.
the preliminary talks about the funding.
Okay.
1990. That's it. And our township parks egg hunt was attended by probably close to 300 kids.
Oh,
Good.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And went real well. It lasted about 20 minutes. Everybody had a big smile on their face. The Easter Bunny was there. The Baptist Church from North Hollywood was there giving out popcorn, and they gave away 3 bicycles this year.
Wow.
No, let me rephrase that. They gave away 6 bicycles instead of 4. They did different age groups. So they had wee bikes, middle bikes, and a little bit bigger bikes.
Cool.
Nice.
So there was no charge for that. They had hot cocoa, coffee, popcorn, and the Easter Bunny was provided by Parks. So everybody had a good time,
Good times.
and it was open to the public, and it went real well. The weather was a little cool off the lake, but it didn't rain, so another good one behind us. That's it.
Gail, any comments?
No.
Angie?
Okay, I was given this at the Planning Commission meeting the other night from the woman from Row Professional Services. It's a free seminar, Planning for Parks and Recreation, which will be held, let's see, Monday, April 30th from 7 to 9 for local officials, planning commissioners, local government administrators. But you do have to RSVP by April 23rd
Where will it be, Angie?
at the building on Saginaw Street, Row.
Oh, here.
Yeah, in Flint.
Oh, in Flint.
So
Oh,
anyways, I'm
Flint,
gonna give
the
this
Row
to you. I've got
Engineering.
a picture of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I took a picture of it, but it's like for grant writing, possibilities, and all kinds of neat. It sounds really awesome. But anyway, so I just had signed in that, or got whatever you call it, sworn in that day, and they said, "Well, she's done." That sounds like a well worth cause. And then holidays. I guess it was discussed at the last meeting where they're going to the 3-day weekend and changing it back to when Carrie Nation was. At the Volunteer Expo, I actually had 2 people come up. One was this Janet Hall for vendor, and then one was Olga Swarthout. She doesn't know what she would like to do, but she definitely wants to get back into volunteering. For the parade, they're talking about having a section in front of Coleman's for seniors because they were having a hard time getting to where Mr. Barnes, you know, to hear him
Right.
announce the parade. And by the way, he is going to do it again
Oh,
this
great, he
year.
does a great job.
So anyways, they're thinking of setting up a area for the seniors in front of Coleman's, and there was discussion about maybe putting a handicapped area for parking behind, like Bloom's across the street from the post office. I don't
Yeah.
know if that'll work out. I
That'd be
don't know.
great.
But anyways, they're talking about doing that. And speaking of parking, because it is such a problem, we realized last year at Holidays that for the shuttle bus, it was really hard for people to figure out where in the world to go to pick up the shuttle bus.
Right.
So not only do we want more places for people to park, like we used Holly L, they would like to use maybe Holly L maybe the,
Middle school.
VFW, yeah, the
American Legion.
middle school was mentioned. American Legion, that's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
You know, and all the churches,
And then-
whatever.
And then the parking
Yeah.
lot on the corner of Washington and Baird,
Yeah,
next to, one house over from Cyclone Park. That's a
right.
big
And
parking
then
lot.
they were also, the biggest problem was no signage.
Right. That
It was kind of word of mouth.
yeah.
That was a
Just
really
kinda
big
The
problem.
shuttle at Holiday last year was kind of last minute, so
Right.
it wasn't as organized as it could have been.
Right.
But it was better than
It
was
worked
better than
out,
nothing.
but yeah, this is just some improvements we would like to do.
Yes.
So I don't know, we haven't talked about who's gonna make these signs. But the
Mhm.
signage was brought up, and let's see, we would really like, last year, the north end of town kind of fell apart. We had stuff, if you remember,
Yep.
set up for the north end of town. This year, we definitely would like to have more stuff. Hydro Grow is already talking about putting in a hot rod exposition or whatever.
Oh.
Right.
And then
Car show.
the place across the street is wanting to put in some kind of car show. I can't think of the name of it. But anyway, so there's already talk of doing stuff at the north end again. Let's see, and
Especially
more
if the shuttle
vendors.
works out well.
Yeah, if the shuttle works out, that'd be great. I mean, let's see. Oh, and Midtown, also thinking of maybe doing something to coordinate Northern Oak Brewery with across the street, Ganshaw Park.
Mhm.
I don't know what yet. And they would like to get one of those flyers made up soon. I don't
Okay.
know who's going to do that. I know Nicole did it last year.
Oh, yeah. Yes, she did.
Trying to get a flyer set up earlier, and also we would like to start going to businesses earlier. Last year we didn't start until I think June or July. July,
And it
and
was
maybe
in
start
September.
like now. Some of us have already been starting to talk to people, but everything's got to be sooner and bigger and better. And
And it'll improve every year.
yes. I have noticed some graffiti at a couple of buildings on Saginaw Street. So through talking to Brian and Jeremy, I told them I would go around to the parks. Well, it hasn't been nice enough weather, but I did go to Lakeside Park, and there is some graffiti up on the jungle gym.
Yeah.
That's a
So
never
I
ending
took pictures
problem.
of it. So when we do the walk-through of the parks or
Yeah,
whatever, we might
we've got an
want
idea.
to check
Yes,
that
we
out.
can.
Because graffiti it's on Saginaw Street at a couple of buildings, so it's gonna go to the parks. But I think that's all I have.
I have
Joyce?
nothing, and I'd like to go home.
I don't have much. I do want to welcome our wonderful new members.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys stepping up and stepping out of the peanut gallery and sitting your butts
From
behind
one
the
side
counter.
to another.
Yep. You're always here anyway, so.
Yeah.
Joe.
One comment on the shuttle bus. I drove it a couple years ago, and our main parking lot was Holly L. We had signage, and I would drop them off behind. It's easy getting in. You take that bus around, it's a bugger getting through town. So I would take them up to the parking lot behind the Presbyterian Church up here on Maple Street, because I could come in and come around and come out, and I'd drop them off to downtown there. That was a pretty lucrative route. Because if you went down into town around the post office and came up Civic Drive, there were so many people in that great big large
Right.
bus isn't easy to turn around.
Well, yeah, I think coming up with a route would be a good idea. I think if you hung a right on Saginaw, well, then you got to turn left over for we need to come up with a route that.
And if they're going to open up Midtown, Johnson car lot would be a good one to park and have the shuttle bus stop there. So you'd have 3 stops. You'd have Holly Foods, you'd have Johnson Pontiac, and you'd have the Presbyterian Church, and you could park in different places so you could run your 2 buses around a lot.
Right, so they can park all over town.
Yep.
The only
that'd be
problem
great.
with that is it can be used, but not until after the parade, because they're lining up the parade, I guess, where VFW
Yeah.
is, but also across the street at Johnson Pontiac.
Well-
But then, once the parade is over, it
Well,
wouldn't be a
Right, then the
problem.
streets will be open
The
again.
first part of the route I drove when I drove bus was there was that Dixieland band that was in the parade, and I had to pick them guys up and drop them back off at the VFW. So they were down at
Yeah.
down here at Richter. I picked him up and took, that was my first pickup. I had to make 2 trips to get those guys out. But yeah, if you come up with a designated parking lots ahead of time, they can run. The van's hard to pack people in, but that bus, you can pack them in.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the van is tough to use because it's hard to get to the back seats.
And you got to step up into it, and yeah, but the bus is really fast. It's great.
Yep.
And maybe the school will get involved. I don't know if they can do it, but they can use one of their shorter buses instead of using a big bus. Use a shorter bus.
Right.
I don't know if they can do that legally or not. You know, it's public transportation still, because
Yeah, I don't know.
so we could
That'd be
schmooze
a
them.
question for.
Or if the I don't know if they'd want to do it either. Well, the
a limo place.
Whispering Oaks has got a seniors bus, a big one,
Well, there's a limo place in town. That
and
has
there's a
buses.
limo
Oaks
place
or
in town that could run it, huh?
Whispering Oaks or Holly?
Oh.
Hollyville, whatever it is.
Yeah, not Whispering Oaks.
No,
The-
the other one.
yeah,
Next to it,
yeah.
not too far away.
Holly, what is it called?
Hollywood.
The Woodlands.
Yeah, Woodland's got a big
They
bus.
have
But
it.
yeah, maybe the guy can bring a short limo down. And
Maybe we
haul
could
people.
talk the Woodlands into bringing some seniors
Yeah, bring
from
your
the
seniors
home.
Well, you get it on their newsletter early because
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll contact them.
those seniors like to get out. Because every time I drove a bus, I'd tell all the seniors, we're going to Detroit, we're going to the casino. Yeah, they'd cheer that bus going down the
They bring
road.
a busload to, Project, or not Project, Neighbor for Neighbor once a month, and they get their groceries.
Yeah.
They bring them in the van.
Good. And maybe we get them involved too, you know.
Okay.
Okay.
Chris, I have one little advertisement here. It's for the Veterans Outreach. They are having a very nice breakfast at the Moose, May 5th. It's going to be free to all veterans. We're going to be honoring 6 veterans from the area that have been very involved in community service and this sort of thing. And we're going to honor them around 9:30, 10 o'clock. The breakfast will be between 9 and 11 o'clock. The breakfast will be $8 for everybody else, free to all veterans.
Oh, that's a nice thing to do.
May
Hear that,
5th.
John?
May 5th at the Moose.
What day?
Cinco de Mayo, May 5th,
May 5th at the Moose.
at the Moose, yep.
What time?
9 o'clock in the morning. That's a Saturday.
And in case we need to excuse the other administrator who was supposed to be here, I know Brian wasn't going to be here, but Jerry was supposed to be in his place. In case we need an excuse, I will make the motion that we excuse Jerry from the meeting.
Support.
And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And with nothing further to discuss, we will adjourn the meeting at 7:43. I'm sorry?
You missed it, John. We already did it.
It says right after.
Yeah,
Oh, you're right.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
There was no public here earlier. I didn't. We'll postpone the adjournment for John's comments.
Hi. They don't even post this down on the village office window down there.
What's that?
It's a secret.
The notice of the meeting.
It's a secret meeting.
Is it?
Oh,
You know the
What?
handshake?
I went down to look and see if there was a notice down there earlier in the day. There was no notice.
Is it on the website?
It's supposed to be on the,
It's
it's
a
public
schedule.
notices are supposed to be posted on the
I don't think we have to post it for a
on
scheduled,
the village office.
for a schedule, not for a scheduled meeting. I
Yeah.
think that's only for special
No,
meetings.
it's public notice for public meeting.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, that's what the Open Meeting Act says. So anyway, I would have been here earlier if I had seen it there.
It was probably posted down here at the village offices.
That's where I went,
Oh, it wasn't on the window?
not on the window.
Hmm.
No notice.
Ooh.
Okay, anyway, moving on. I made it anyway,
You're here.
barely.
Yeah, it's just there.
Waterworks Park. One thing that I was down there just looking at it again today, and here's the Waterworks Park, and you know we own that. The village owns a strip of land across the street.
Yeah, the little triangle.
Yeah. Well, there's a sign right here that's right on the Rose Township County village line. Well, if you extend that over, the house that's there, he has his fence on the park property, has his car parked on the park property, and actually part of his little steps are on park property, on park land. So I'd like to have that either surveyed or something to,
You're talking across from Waterworks?
Mhm.
At the Arboretum?
no.
No, no.
Where are you talking?
You know where the sign is that says Village
Holly Village, huh?
Park?
The-
and all
the-
that?
no parking
There's
on the
also
village
a
streets.
sign that's right on the side of the road, and it's lined up with Nemowitz's telephone poles that he put in to demarcate where his property line is. Then there's the fire hydrant on the other side of the road, and that's on village property, and actually, he's got his fence over onto park land. And his car's parked on the park land, and actually part of that porch thing that he has is on park land also. So I'd like to have it, trimmed back or something and demarcated properly, because one thing is there's a beautiful tree right back here that's kind of buried in the woods, and I'd like to make sure that tree is protected. So, and it's unclear because they own this little strip of land over right here that's off of what is it, Hadley, around the corner that has access to that street behind the house there, and that's not well demarcated, or the whole thing isn't marked off very well. But then the other part of it is they got all these trees and growth and everything, and you can't even see the nice view of the river from back in that end of the land, and it just is a great park, but it isn't
Are they their trees or our trees?
our trees. So there's our trees that are, and it's all undergrowth, undergrown there. You can't even get back to see the river, and there's also an opportunity to have more canoe launches back there. And also there's an opportunity to have canoe launches, but right now there's some trees that are on village park property that are across the river. So you can't even go through there with a canoe. And these are not little trees this big, they're
Right.
big trees. So it needs to be taken care of, and I just wanted to talk a little bit more about it. And of course, the Waterworks Park, the Waterworks building, I don't know if you know what happened there. Hoffman was down there trying to work on it and get going on it. So what he did is there's a door on the back that's at ground level. So he took that off. He was going to put a door in there so he could start working and stabilizing what's in there. Because the back door is at ground level, there's no danger of falling through the floor because it's ground. And that way he was going to start working on stabilizing and reinforcing the ceiling so that you could go in on the upper level. But they flipped out and went down there and put all these stickers on it, beware of end of the world, and boarded it
My
up.
understanding was that the fire department had named it as a dangerous building.
It is a dangerous building if you stand on the roof.
Well,
It's a dangerous building if you stand on the first floor.
or going
And when
further.
Sue Julian was down there with him the day he fell through the floor, she told him not to go there, and he went there, and he went south. So if you don't use your head, anything's dangerous. Don't stand on the street, it's dangerous. But anyway, that's a historic property that really needs to be preserved and embellished so it's an attraction. And I've talked to some people about how it would be a great building to be integrated into having concerts there, or skating on the mill pond, and a lot of other things, instead of putting swings in or something. So anyway, that's this.
Thank
And
you, John.
What's cleanup day?
Oh.
I wrote it down, but then I forgot to write it down. So if you could tell me.
What did we say?
June 2nd.
Well, you wanted to know cleanup day or the walkthrough?
The walkthrough, and then
Okay, yeah, the walkthrough's at 28th, and we are starting at Ganshaw, like I meant. If I remember.
28th of
April.
April.
Yep, Saturday the 28th of April at noon at Ganshaw. And then cleanup day is going to be June 2nd. starting at 10 a.m.
That's it. What, is it a Saturday too, or what is it?
Yes. And that is also at Ganshaw.
Are you gonna have the road crew come along too?
Yep.
Oh, okay. How many are they gonna have, do you
2 vans.
We got 2 vans
Two
coming this year,
vans?
Gail.
28 people.
know? Wow, 28.
Mm-hmm.
I was there with just a handful. They gotta split it up, like go to different parks and stuff, or?
If they send us 2 supervisors, yes.
Oh, I see. If they just have one supervisor, they have to all be all together?
Yep.
So it'll be like a traveling,
But they're very good help, they really are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they get a lot done.
I
So
did it one
we'll-
year, so I know what it's like.
Hopefully we'll get the gazebo painted. We'll get the landscaping taken care of again.
Yeah, we pulled some boats out of the woods last time.
Are they gonna put the
Yes.
sign back up at Ganshaw?
Which sign?
The sign that says Ganshaw Park that was knocked over by a car?
Oh, I didn't know it was knocked over.
Oh, quite a while ago.
Oh, I was unaware of that.
What was knocked over?
The sign that says
Yeah,
Ganshaw Park
I
was
mean, we
knocked
can
over by
certainly
a
have
car.
them.
The big wooded one?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know it either.
I didn't notice either.
When you go by, it's not there.
All right, we'll keep an eye out for it. Okay, now we'll adjourn.
In
Thanks.
the nick of time.
7:51.
Yeah, now I'm ready for breakfast.
Thank
you.
There you go.
All right, let me see your map, John. What are we worried about? Because I think that the fence on the south end of the park is actually the park's fence, not the owner's fence. Yeah, that part. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this fence is what we put up.
We put it way up, and here's where this car is parked on the property. You know, that house.
Okay, we'll see you later, Angie.
Alrighty.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
I
Can you
go
see
on
it on
that
there?
post now, but I've never been to one of those women's meetings. Shame
Yeah.
on
Oh,
me.
it's right there. It's right there.
Well,
Oh.
I didn't go